What is up, guys? This is your favorite YouTube commentator, GhostRobo, and we are here with Lost in Shadow for the Wii. Chase the baby! Here he goes! Watch him run. Published by Hudson Entertainment. Just came out today, January 4th, and I believe, if I'm correct, right now at this moment, 7:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 4th, we are the only Lost in Shadow walkthrough on YouTube, so let's give me 3 claps for that. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support, and also, let's give me 3 claps for my perseverance, because the first time I recorded this video, there was a major audio problem where it was like a time warp. I just recorded the intro, and my intro was about 15 seconds long, and I could tell something was off because the recording on the video only said 10 seconds, and so somehow, even though I clicked the buttons at the same time, the audio and the video were off. So 3 more claps for perseverance. Thank you very much. I appreciate your guys' help. We're going to start with File 4, because it's January 4th, and I feel like that's a good number. We're going to play on normal difficulty. And Lost in Shadows is a game about shadows. It's been compared a lot to Hayao Miyazaki's films. He made movies like Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo from, I believe, last year. Some pretty popular and mainstream movies thanks to the Disney Corporation. And I'm a big fan of his work, so I instantly was intrigued by this game. I also heard mentions of games like Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, games of that ilk, and anytime you hear something being compared to titles like that, you're instantly interested, even if it is on the Wii. And we're going to get to some Wii game breakdown and Wii game discussion in a second here. The graphics aren't necessarily the greatest, but I think you'll find the mechanic of the shadows and living in the background to be an interesting one. You probably haven't seen much like it here or anywhere else in your gaming history. I know I've watched some preview coverage. It's got some pretty decent hype. It was actually released in Europe under a different name. I think Shadows of the Night or that doesn't sound right. Shadows of something. I don't remember exactly what it was called, as this big guy with a giant key slashes us and detaches our shadow from our poor little boy body. That's kind of sad. Now we are a lost soul, a mere shadow of ourself, if you like bad puns. But this game looks to be pretty cool, and it's already got a good musical vibe and good aesthetic, and I'm kind of a sucker for atmospheric games, even if they don't hold their own against something like a Mass Effect or a Call of Duty Black Ops or a Bioshock presentation-wise, graphically. If they can capture me with a unique mechanic and a good, solid, even esoteric atmosphere, I will probably enjoy that. Let's talk a little bit about Wii games, because I know people have kind of an instant bias and say, Wii games are for babies, or Wii games aren't very good, or this looks good for a Wii game, and have this bias against Wii titles. And now, I'm not the hugest, or largest, or biggest, or anythingest Wii fan, but I do appreciate the games on there because they are games. And this distinction I want to make for you is that things on the 360 and PS3 have really transitioned into more of experiences, and you'll find your pure, golden-hearted games on the Wii as we enter the garden here, our first of 60 levels in Lost in Shadows. And you'll notice that we're stuck in the background here, and we can't perhaps jump on the well itself, but we can jump on the shadow of this wall, which is actually really, really nifty. Doesn't look like there's anything we can do over there. So, unless you're 12 years old or under, you probably grew up with Super Nintendo. Oh my, we've got a nice butterfly on screen. Let's try not to get distracted here, GhostRobo. Stay focused, stay on task as we try to read and speak and move all at the same time. Press buttons, talk. It's kind of a difficult task, but I'm up to that challenge for you guys. If you remember playing on the Super Nintendo or NES, things were very mechanic driven, right? It was all about a simple gameplay mechanic, Mario running and jumping, Zelda, swinging your sword, some simple puzzle solving. It really wasn't so much about, oh my, the graphics are so pretty, or oh, all these scripted events, or oh, humongous boss and this open world. It wasn't really about that. It was about the game, the art of playing the game. And if you look at the Wii titles, no matter what kind of bias you come at them with, you have to acknowledge that they are much more in line with games, as games are known from the history of the industry, than anything you'll find on the 360 or Wii, because they focus mainly on a specific mechanic, such as 3 monitor eyes in each level, and once we collect those 3 eyes, we can progress to the next level. Is that very exciting? No. Is it kind of, tacky and very fake, per se? Yes. But it's a game, and I think you got to appreciate things on the Wii for being a tie back to the history and sort of the culture of what made video games popular in the first place. The NES, the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, even the Atari, things that far back. We've got a little butterfly on screen here, and if we hold the B button, he sort of sends out this aura of holiness calling all of his butterfly friends. It makes kind of a weird noise. Not sure if you can hear that, but hopefully you can, because it's kind of soothing. As we search for a point of interaction here, where is it? There's nothing we can... There we go. All right. Okay. So now if we press the B button, we can move this, and we're puzzle solving. And there's a simple mechanic, shadow puzzle solving, right? That's what this entire game is going to be about. There's not going to probably be big bosses. There's not going to be huge scripted events. The graphics aren't that great, but they look good for what it's trying to achieve. And I think if you take some games in comparison, this is the best way to highlight my little opinion here on Wii games. Let's look at something like Dead Space, right? Dead Space on the Xbox 360 and PS3, a fantastic game. I loved it, right? Even though it was scary, I really enjoyed it. Or tense rather than scary, but huge cinematic value, really impressive graphically, a whole lot going on, great combat, great game. But now let's look at the Dead Space variation on Wii, Dead Space Extraction, right? Still a great game, but much more mechanic driven than like spectacle driven, right? Much more about, let's shoot things, let's be on a track, let's have a light gun, and still have a little interesting story, but make sure that we focus on the mechanics and what's really important about the game. We're getting all these memories, and as we collect memories, you'll notice that it is upgrading our health, which is in the top left corner, displayed as grams. You can't see it right now, but we're at 5.6 grams, and that's a very obscure, weird way to describe health. I wish it just kind of had a meter or a couple of hearts as we travel to Outflow and save our game. There's already some very weird things. As you read these memories that are sort of tooltips, you're gaining health and gaining weight, and I kind of wish the real world worked like that, because I'm a pretty skinny, athletic but skinny guy, and if every time I remembered something I could gain weight, I would be all for that, all about that, but things just aren't that easy. I'd also probably fit in better with my Midwest counterparts if I was a little bit heavier, but we won't go too far into that. Let's take another example of a Wii game. Let's look at Wii Sports versus something like NBA 2K11. Right, 2K11, fantastic game. Great game. My player mode, the Jordan challenges, some super great cinematic experience, careers and franchise modes, all sorts of stuff, online play. But it became a very cinematic driven experience. It's all about flash, it's all about style, it's all about making it as realistic as possible. Wii Sports, all about mechanics, right? You go to Wii Sports because you want to play Wii Tennis or Wii Bowling, not because it has your favorite player, not because it has your favorite team, not because it looks great, but because the mechanic is sound. And the same can be said for Mario or Kirby or even Zeldas. They don't have the most fantastical story. They don't have branching dialogue like Mass Effect. But what they do have is a solid sound mechanic that really can drive a game and sort of drove a generation for many years. Drove the whole NES and Super Nintendo generation. And while, yes, I do prefer the big spectacle, the big AAA of 360 and PS3, I feel that there is value in these games because, it's the culture of games that the Wii is paying homage to. I don't think it's very fair to just disregard that and say, bah, this sucks, it's terrible. And Lost in Shadows, so far, is starting off not very terrible. We've got some interesting little gameplay tweaks going on with the Shadow World, and the fact that you can move these objects, and you have to impact them in the Shadow World for them to change form in the real world. Or rather, I guess it's the other way around. Impact them in the real world with your little pointer guy, who I guess is called Sparkle, which is a very, or Spankle, I don't even remember. Either way, it's a very odd name, but one that I can get behind because I kind of like craziness. It looks like we are missing one of our eyes, but we're going to still go this way and just see what's up over here, see if we can collect another one. I think his name is Spangle. Spangle, that is it. Spangle reminds me of Star Spangled Banner. I'm not the hugest fan of America, but I can appreciate the name Spangle just for a day or two. Yes, here's our shadow wall, and if we bump into it, we lose 0.8 grams of health. I would not like that in the real world. Bump into a shadow, lose weight, not a fan. So now it looks like we've got to go back to collect one more of these little eyes here. Is this it right here? No, that's another memory. Okay, so where is this eye going to be? I guess we're going to have to manipulate the environment over here, and they wanted to let us know in this memory that I'm standing over now that you can impact things as you stand on them, and yes, there is the eye hidden up here. So we're going to go grab that. So give me your thoughts in the comments about Wii games. I'm not, like I said, I'm not like a lover of Wii. You'll notice in my top 10 game of the year countdown that I don't even have a single Wii game on there, but I do have an appreciation for what they're trying to achieve and what the Wii allows for that you don't find much of on any other system. And that's why I like Xbox Live Arcade and PSN so much, because they allow more for simple gameplay driven experiences as opposed to huge open world, huge big scripted events, big bosses, big everything else crazy that costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make. And if you think back, sometimes in that effort to create a huge world and create a huge large experience, you get lost and kind of don't remember some of the joys that simple gameplay can bring you. I think about games like Infamous. Whoops, that is not the right way to go. I think about games like Red Dead Redemption, and games that were fun when I was there, but in hindsight, aren't as memorable, probably because my fun derived while playing was mainly due to my experience as that character, and not because of a specific moment or because of any real fantastic gameplay. And we fell and lost some more weight. Like gaining weight and losing weight. This game is all about weight. Someone clearly had a fat issue in their family that they wanted to address, whoever the developers here of this game are. Let's get on this platform safe and sound. So this game, Lost in Shadow here, while it's not Game of the Year caliber, it could have some memories. Like if there's a super cool puzzle, I could be like, oh yeah, Lost in Shadow, I remember that great puzzle when I solved this. And even though I wasn't as drawn in to the world, per se, while I was playing, it may end up being a better long-lasting title than something like Red Dead Redemption, where I look back and say, wow, I had a lot of fun collecting flowers and a lot of fun shooting animals and watching glitches. And yeah, it's not really holding up for me. It's not really saying this game must be remembered as one of my favorites. Great while I was playing it, not great in retrospect. We're riding these layers. We're riding these conveyors. Rhymes with layers. Speaking all sorts of nonsense today. You ever just get in the car and you want to rap? You hear a beat and you just want to make up your own rhyme, even if it sounds horrible. No one's listening to you, so it doesn't really matter. You just make up your rhyme and go with it. That may sound totally crazy and ridiculous to you, but I do that actually quite a bit. I do it a lot. I've got a younger brother who is 9 years old, and sometimes I'll take him to school or pick him up from school, and we'll just have a blast rapping our way through the car ride to Tram Station. Well, we can't go that way yet because we're missing the eye, and this is something that I can already point out would be a great design improvement for Lost in Shadow, is if they had maybe Spangle here light up when you walked past an eye or missed one, so we didn't get all the way to the end of the level only to find that we're missing the first eye. And I guess we could look and see that it pops up and hey, we're missing an eye here, but it's not as obvious as you may want to think or believe. I don't know if we can go back or where we're supposed to go here. That little bridge. I don't feel like we missed anything too terrible, but apparently we did. So while we're on the subject of old games and sort of remembering the classics, let's talk a little bit about game collections and how you feel about those. Because I was looking at my games that I have from 2010 that I have not yet beat, and the amount of titles is kind of scary and insurmountable both at the exact same time, because I don't know that I'll ever finish all those games from 2010 that I started. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, Fable 3, a bunch of games that just didn't grab my interest immediately, and therefore I did not get around to finishing. And this sort of happens every year with a couple titles, but as the release calendar seems to get more and more full, I find myself, oh, it's just a memory. I thought it was an eye. I suppose the only reason for me being here is to fade away. What a sad tale. But we got heavier because of it. I feel like this game could get a little bit sappy kind of quickly, and I'm a bit nervous about the story. It seems very cliched and trite so far. But my game collection is anything but trite. It is very large. Uh-oh. Okay, so we're back here. I don't know where we're supposed to be going. Maybe there was an eye up there. Could I have jumped over there? I have no idea. I'm going to go back down and see if I missed anything down here. Sorry for the backtracking, guys. But at a certain point, I feel like I should be getting rid of more games because I would feel better about my collection, feel better about myself for beating the games that I do have, as opposed to constantly feeling like, oh no, I'm super stressed out that I didn't beat game X or game Y or whatever game, I didn't finish from. Oh no, and now we died. Oh, we survived though. Where is that last eye? Where are you, Mr. Eye? But how do you feel about game collections? Would you like to have the largest game collection possible? Or do you feel it's important to beat all the games in your collection? Because I'm kind of someone who feels guilty and stressed when I see those games sitting on my shelf that I have not finished. I'd probably be better off and be doing myself a favor if I could just give them up and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stop Oh my, we gotta wrap this video up really quick. YouTube is about to kill me. It's almost 15 minutes long. Next episode will be up very soon. Okay, thanks, bye.